Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I wanted to talk today about INFPs and INFJ differences. One major difference. I have a best friend who's an INFJ, and I first thought that it was ENFJ, so you can go check out my video about ENFJs. It's actually the same person I'm talking about. Um, but he's just really extroverted for INFJ, I guess. I think that's what I'm going to be talking about will kind of clarify this. I have been having a lot of mood swings lately because, a lot of is going on in my life, and it's hard for me to get my emotions under control. So I've been researching Buddhist stuff, like Buddhist chants, and things that could help me relax and make the emotions more manageable. However, I don't really subscribe to the whole notion of Buddhism because there's a big part of it that is about detachment, and that you have to be detached from the self. Like, you have to forget yourself because nothing exists basically in Buddhism. Like, everything is emptiness. So I can do that. Like, I can detach myself from worldly things and stuff because, well, as intuitive types, like, we can completely disconnect and daydream. But disconnecting from the self and from my emotions is much more difficult, because that is basically who I am. As an FI user, like, my emotions are a big part of me, and detaching myself from it is a bit daunting, to say the least. And I'm not sure that that would be a good path for me to go on. Maybe other people of other types or with other lifestyles might find this detachment from emotions useful. And I can tell that it can maybe be useful in certain situations for me, but I don't think that that is my path towards becoming a better person. And so we had this discussion with my INFJ friend. And for him, it was obvious that he's not attached to his emotions because he's not an FI user, he's an FE user. And he always describes himself as an observer of the world rather than an active, like, participant in it. Or his participation is kind of like manipulating stuff. For me, I'm an active, like, I'm inside myself all the time. So that we had an interesting discussion, but I realized that my INFJ friend will never really grasp FI, just like I will never grasp NI. It's an introverted function, and it's very personal. So for him, he thought, well, maybe it's growth can, growth is good, and we are not our emotions. So we should be able to attain this detachment from emotions in order to gain insight and wisdom about an understanding about the world. INFJs are really interested in understanding the world, understanding its truth. For me, as an INFP, that takes second place over, like, my emotions are first, and what I feel is right will always come before trying to understand the world. I don't believe that there is one truth. I think that is more of like a NITI concept, the fact that you would have one truth to the world. But so I was explaining how I could not detach myself. I can detach myself from the world, I can detach myself from my emotions for a short bit, but it will be really stressful. And like my anxiety will come back to hit me if I detach myself from my emotions for too long. So in general, I try to ride waves of my emotion, but I cannot, and like not be stuck in the middle of the hurricane of it. And so in that way, maybe it is a kind of detachment, that I can ride the waves rather than being the waves. But detaching myself from the emotions for me is a kind of nihilism that brings about feelings of depression, basically. And that's not the way I want to live my life. A lot of other types will criticize INFPs for being too sensitive, for not being able to take other opinions, for being stubborn, and all sorts of things. Basically, we're not a really loved type in general, and especially FE users are kind of frustrated by us, which is sort of sad because they don't really know what they're missing out on in the FI world. If they could actually get into our shoes and see the FI and how beautiful it can be, then I think that they'd have less problems with us. But unfortunately, they can't get into that FI world, and it's hard for them to see that it's not just self-centeredness, it's also a whole finesse of understanding of different layers of emotion and the human experience. And if INFPs, for example, and INFJs could integrate their depth of feeling into an INFJ's vision, then we could go to great places in that relationship together. But if the FE user just sees the FI user as stubborn or as immature or reactive or whatever, then of course you won't go anywhere. And it is just a fact that INFPs are moody, but it's not like our goal isn't just to annoy other people with it. Our goal with the moodiness is to be able to learn about the feelings that surround us and integrate it into ourselves, into our lives, into other people's lives, and into the world. And so we need to have all those emotions, and we need to be over emotional, or at least emotional in a balanced way, in order to fulfill like what we are best at and what we find life is all about. So yeah, that's what I had to say on the subject. I'll stop right there before it starts getting too long. I will be making more videos about the differences between INFJ and INFP, and about different functions and how they relate to each other, because I find this really interesting. Tell me what you think. I mean, I will be going back to medical school videos soon, because I'm going to go back to work. I've been on a long holiday. But have a good day. Bye.